In 2022, the world turned its eyes toward a small desert nation that dared to dream bigger than anyone expected. Qatar, a country with a population of less than 3 million people, hosted one of the most expensive and controversial sporting events in history, the FIFA World Cup. But beyond the stadium lights, roaring crowds, and unforgettable goals, there lies a story much deeper. A story about ambition, transformation, and a legacy that Qatar hopes will shape its future for decades to come. Today, Mr. TV takes you inside Qatar's World Cup legacy, exploring the billions spent, the massive infrastructure built, and what the future holds for this rapidly evolving nation. Chapter 1. The historic bid back in 2010. When FIFA announced Qatar as the host for the 2022 World Cup, the world was shocked. Qatar became the first Middle Eastern country to host the tournament. Many questioned how a small desert nation with extreme summer temperatures could handle such a massive global event. However, Qatar had a clear vision. The World Cup was not just about football. It was about transforming the country's global image, boosting tourism, strengthening infrastructure, and establishing itself as a major international hub. From that moment, Qatar began one of the largest construction and development projects the world had ever seen. Chapter 2. Billions. Invested in stadiums, one of the most visible legacies of the World Cup is Qatar's stunning stadiums. The country built 8 world-class stadiums, each with unique architecture and advanced cooling technology designed to combat the intense desert heat. Lusail Stadium, largest venue, became the centerpiece of the tournament. With a capacity of over 80,000 spectators, it hosted the grand final, where Argentina defeated France in one of the most thrilling matches in World Cup history. Other stadiums, like Al Bayt Stadium, inspired by traditional Bedouin tents, showcased Qatar's cultural heritage. Stadium 974 was another remarkable innovation. Built using shipping containers and designed to be completely dismantled and reused after the tournament. Qatar spent approximately $6 to $10 billion on stadium construction alone. But these stadiums were built with long-term plans in mind. Many venues are now being transformed into community centers, sports academies, and entertainment hubs. Chapter 3. The real cost. Infrastructure revolution. While stadiums captured global attention, the true legacy of Qatar's World Cup lies in its massive infrastructure development. Experts estimate that Qatar spent over $200 billion on overall preparations, making it the most expensive World Cup in history. Qatar developed a modern transportation system, including the Doha Metro, a state-of-the-art rail network connecting stadiums, airports, hotels, and major city centers. The metro system alone transformed daily life for residents and tourists. New highways, bridges, and urban development projects reshaped the nation's landscape. Hamad International Airport was expanded to handle millions of international travelers, turning Qatar into a major global transit hub. Entire cities, including Lusail City, were built from scratch. Lusail is designed as a smart city featuring advanced technology, residential areas, shopping centers, and entertainment districts. Chapter 4. Economic diversification for decades. Qatar's economy relied heavily on natural gas and oil exports. However, hosting the World Cup allowed the country to accelerate its plans for economic diversification. The tournament helped boost tourism, hospitality, and real estate sectors. Luxury hotels, resorts, and entertainment venues were developed. To accommodate visitors from around the world, Qatar also promoted itself as a business and investment destination. International companies began exploring opportunities in technology, finance, and infrastructure development. Through these efforts, Qatar hopes to reduce dependence on energy exports and build a more sustainable and diversified economy. Chapter 5. Social and cultural impact. The World Cup also brought major social changes. Qatar introduced labor reforms following international criticism regarding migrant worker conditions. These reforms included minimum wage policies, improved worker protections, and changes in employment regulations. While debates continue about the effectiveness of these reforms, they represent significant steps toward improving labor rights in the region culturally. Qatar used the World Cup to showcase Middle Eastern traditions, hospitality, and heritage. Visitors experienced Arabic culture, cuisine, and history, helping break stereotypes and promoting cross-cultural understanding. Chapter 6. Environmental Sustainability Efforts. Hosting a global sporting event in a desert environment raised serious environmental concerns. Qatar responded by introducing sustainability initiatives throughout the tournament. Several stadiums were built using eco-friendly materials and designed to reduce energy consumption. Solar-powered cooling systems were developed to maintain comfortable temperatures while minimizing environmental impact. Public transportation systems were encouraged to reduce traffic congestion and carbon emissions. Qatar also invested in renewable energy projects as part of its long-term sustainability goals. Although environmental experts debate the overall impact, Qatar's efforts reflect a growing commitment to sustainable development. Chapter 7. Tourism boom and global image transformation. The World Cup significantly boosted Qatar's global reputation. Millions of football fans visited the country, experiencing its modern city's luxury lifestyle and cultural attractions. Tourist destinations like Souq Waqif, Qatar Cultural Village, and the Pearl Qatar gained international recognition. Cruise ships, fan villages, and entertainment zones created a festival-like atmosphere during the tournament. Following the World Cup, Qatar continues to market itself as a tourist destination, hosting international events, concerts, and sports tournaments to attract global visitors year-round. Chapter 8. The future of the stadiums and cities. Unlike previous World Cup hosts where stadiums often became unused white elephants, Qatar designed its stadiums with future use in mind. Some stadiums have reduced seating capacity and are now used for local sports events and community activities. Parts of stadium structures are being donated to developing countries to support global sports infrastructure. Lusail City continues to grow as a futuristic urban center, offering residential living, business opportunities, and entertainment experiences. Qatar aims to ensure that every project built for the World Cup contributes to long-term national development. Chapter 9. Criticism and controversies despite its success. Qatar's World Cup journey was not without controversy. The country faced criticism regarding labor conditions, human rights issues, and the overall cost of hosting the tournament. Some critics questioned whether the massive financial investment would generate long-term economic returns. Others raised concerns about sustainability and the environmental impact of constructing large infrastructure projects. However, Qatar defended its decisions by highlighting the long-term benefits and transformative impact of the World Cup on the nation's development. Chapter 10. A new Middle Eastern era in global sports. Qatar's successful hosting of the World Cup opened new doors for the Middle East in global sports and international events. It demonstrated that countries outside traditional Western hosts could organize world-class tournaments. The event inspired neighboring nations to invest in sports tourism, infrastructure, and global partnerships. It also strengthened Qatar's diplomatic and economic influence on the international stage. Conclusion: the legacy beyond football. Qatar's World Cup was never just about football. It was about building a future, reshaping a nation's identity, proving that bold visions can become reality. From billion-dollar stadiums to advanced transportation systems, from economic diversification to cultural transformation, Qatar used the World Cup as a catalyst for long-term national growth. The true legacy of Qatar's World Cup will not be measured only by goals scored or trophies lifted. It will be measured by how the country uses this historic moment to shape its future generations. As time passes, the world will continue to watch whether Qatar's ambitious investments will deliver lasting success. One thing is certain: Qatar changed the history of the World Cup, and the World Cup changed Qatar forever. Outro MRTV branding. This is MRTV, bringing you powerful stories from around the world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into global history, sports, and transformation, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay connected with MRTV for more incredible stories.